No, I am not coping. No, this video is not about pairings. And yes, that thumbnail is very spicy, but for a damn good reason. We need Yamato. Specifically, we need Yamato on the Straw Hat pirate ship, the Sunny Go. If you don't know, as of late, spoiler warning, Loki is a potential member for the Straw Hat Pirates. It is possible, but only if Loki can compress his body down to more regular human sizes or has his own Uwu Chopper merch form. Maybe his powers are like Loki from mythology and he can transform into any being he wants to. Okay, fine. Until that, Loki right now, logistically speaking, being on the ship is a bit tricky to say the least. And when it comes to our pirate crew, we always have in the back of our minds Vivian Karu, which at some point in the future, I believe that they will be also join the crew officially for the long term, or at least for one more time up until they handle the world government / Emu situation. But this video is about Yamato and Yamato specifically. As time goes on, more and more, I do see the vision of Yamato being a part of the crew in full. And that vision, of course, all started in Wano country, but I've always believed that when Oda started the Road to Laugh Tale and he took that month off, and him and the editors and staff were trying to figure out ways to try and expedite the story and make it quicker and more streamlined, Yamato not joining the crew immediately was one of the core decisions that they made. And the reason being is simple. Yamato takes time. Remember Agate Island, and remember how many characters of the Straw Hat crew were actually relevant. Jinbei doesn't do much at all, just take care of the shipping and handling in the back of Vegapunk's lab, and then only appears at the end of the Zoro fight to stop that fight against him and Rob Bellucci. Robin does get that important conversation with Shaka the Good. We find out that Saul is alive at the beginning parts of Agate Island, but then later on, she fights the Seraphim off screen and gets defeated, and plays only really one role in that group battle against St. J. Garcia Saturn. The same thing goes for Brook, Usopp, Chopper, and Nami as well, where they don't really play that many, if any, roles of major importance and significance during that arc. If you insert Yamato into the mix, Yamato will be in the same situation here, where Yamato probably wouldn't get that much time. Because she's a crew member, she still needs time nonetheless in future arcs. So Oda will always try to find a way to put Yamato in some kind of situation or be involved with someone so she's not doing nothing in the arc. The more characters you have in an arc of prominence, the more Oda has to write and draw, because these characters are not allowed to just do nothing. Otherwise, you would see a Denjiro on Onigashima situation more often with way more characters. For 25 chapters, they're MIA. Have been shown, written, or even hinted at. So if Yamato joins the crew full on, Egghead Island, that arc would be definitely longer. How much longer, hard to say, but it would be for sure longer. Consider the fact that the story in of itself is way longer than Oda had planned initially, just because of the existence of the Shichibukai, the warlords of the sea. Well, that all being said, the signs of her joining the crew officially are there. And the first key sign is ongoing right now, which is the Yamato cover story. And honestly, it's not the best cover story. We've seen better for sure. In terms of power scaling, it is a bit controversial to see Otama just kick the living hell out of Holden. Whoa, what? Oda, you tripping? Stop trying to flummox the power scale, bro! We have to assume that he was already massively wounded before Tama laid a single boot on his face. That is by far and away the most logical and scientific conclusion. But you can also conclude that come the end of this Yamato cover story, and the conclusion of this ongoing Yamato cover story is likely going to be her leaving Wano country, or signs that she's preparing to leave Wano country. And once Yamato does leave Wano country, inevitably she will be on the Straw Hat crew. And shout outs to a donation that I got from Sky King Ziz a few months ago on this subject. But the idea is simple. Yamato is going through the same exact journey that Oden did when he went through his journey during the Oden flashback. Oden, during his flashback, went to all the various parts of Wano country, and throughout all those locations he amassed followers. And after he became a daimyo of Wano country, the daimyo of Kuri, Whitebeard arrived, and then Oden took that ticket out, and only Izo came with Oden. We all recall the madness of him and literally tying a chain to the back of Whitebeard's ship and just being dragged across the ocean for days on end. Madness. But he did nonetheless leave Wano country via those means. And so in the same vein as Oden getting both Denjiro and Kinemon, and over the course of his journey getting more and more followers, Yamato is going through the same thing. Recently, Yamato just got ulti and page 1 after they got annihilated by Who's Who, and then Who's Who got beat by Yamato. So when we parallel Yamato to Oden, who obviously is a major parallel to Oden, she will get more and more followers over the course of this cover story, and eventually these followers will probably assist the Straw Hats in, let's say, the final war, something of that sort, because they're fanboys and fangirls of Yamato. But remember that, again, when Oden left, he left damn near by himself. Yamato will be similar, and she will leave by herself to rejoin the Straw crew officially. The first key sign that Yamato joined the crew. The second one, though more subtle, I think is an important detail too. And the second one is we're seeing right now in real time the power of the Holy Knights. And this matters for Yamato because the Holy Knights right now have this unique property, which is some degree of immortality factor. Their bodies can regenerate from damn near anything, and that includes even hockey-based attacks. Scopper Gabon almost took out Summers, but he was rusty. And Summers, even though he was cut in half, was still able to reform, though albeit in a lot of pain. But the idea that we see now recently with Luffy talking to Gabon is that Conqueror's Haki is at least a key to take down the immortality factor. Now, you could argue that there are some cats out there that, let's say, don't have Conqueror's Haki that could get the job done, i.e., for example, someone like Law. That doesn't matter if you're immortal, if you're cut into pieces and you're put all over the place. And there could be other ways out there to also damage immortals permanently, or at least beat them, even though you don't have Conqueror's Haki. On a side note, folks theorize that Brook could be one of these people, where Brook's abilities might be able to do lasting damage to an immortal because he's targeting not necessarily their bodies, but more so their soul. And I'm putting these ideas out there, and I'm seeing these ideas in general in respects to Robin and Nami, because Robin and Nami right now do not have Conqueror's Haki. The Oda did meme that Nami had Conqueror's Haki, but the only memes and Looney Tune antics that we take seriously are Gear 5 antics, and we won't see Nami utilize any degree of Conqueror's Haki infusion in the future. And the same thing goes for Robin too. I don't see Robin having that kind of ability in the future of the story. Right now, it looks like Oda has no plans on giving either Robin or Nami Haki, let alone Conqueror's Haki, let alone Conqueror's Haki infusion, let alone Conqueror's Haki infusion with the finesse or the ability to do lasting damage to immortals / folks that have very high absurd regen. And that might not be important now for this arc, but you have to recall how Oda does fights. What Oda tends to do is what many shonen mangaka do. I don't mean training or clashes, I mean in a genuine life and death, fate of the universe on the line. That's the normal structure. Particularly if the girls are relatively attractive, he will have the girls fight the girls. Very seldom do you see guys fight girls, and when that does happen, i.e. Zoro versus Monet, the guys don't finish off the girls, because we saw in that fight Tashigi finish off Monet. And there will be upcoming some heavy female hitters, whether it be on BB's crew, whether it be Holy Knights, you name it. There are going to be some heavy female hitters that will be antagonists for them to deal with. And we saw during Wano Country how Nami couldn't handle ulti, which is sad to say because normally in the pre-time skip there would be a way using her wit and tactics, but Nami couldn't handle ulti, and Big Mom was the main reason why ulti lost in the first place to Nami, since after the Maester Cannon, ulti's internal organs were probably fried at that point in time. In terms of power, Nami is a far cry from someone like Robin. Robin is way stronger than Nami, and that makes sense because Nami is normally associated with the weak trio: herself, Chopper, and Usopp. But even the strongest woman on the crew, Robin, even she at this point in time is having issues. Like I said before, she did lose to a Seraphim off screen in the last arc, and as of late, Summers is able to shut her down with his Thorn powers, but these aren't full-on 1v1 fights, tooth and nail to the death, but more like interactions and clashes. Robin could beat someone like Black Maria, who herself has Haki, but she won't compare to the heavy female hitters of the future: Holy Knights, or strong antagonist females that have Haki on other islands in the future, or Katarina Devon. Robin can get stronger though, for sure. Her powers get stronger, her techniques get better, and even if she doesn't have Haki, or let's say the basic armor Haki and observation Haki, maybe she could still play ball with a lot of the top tier heavy hitter females, except for Holy Knights. Holy Knights seem to be a particular case where Conqueror's Haki, utilized in a certain way, is your best bet against them. And given how Oda treated Usopp and Nami on Onigashima, characters that get by the most with their wit and tactics and their intelligence during fights get the W, at least in the pre-time skip, I don't have that much confidence at all for Oda doing like with Robin in the future, especially against pseudo-immortals, where he's establishing a counter for them here and now. Yamato has already been able to utilize Conqueror's Haki infusion for a very long time. She has adapted that ability, absolutely. And for her to learn how to utilize that Conqueror's Haki to do lasting damage to an immortal wouldn't even be a learning curve. It would be hella easy from A to B. For Robin and for Nami, it makes a lot less sense for them to be viable fighters against Holy Knights that are women. Even if Vivi does come back to the crew, she will be in a worse spot than Nami is in terms of power. From Jaya all the way to Egget Island and Elbaf, Nami and Robin have made so much more growth in terms of power than Vivi has. At least on paper, unless you believe the theory that she will get Kuma's powers and go through a massive power boost. Or there's Dragon Balls in Alabasta and she made a wish to make herself just as strong as Luffy, or she ate one of Sukuna's fingers that she found hidden in the sands of Alabasta. Unless these things come to fruition, there's a good chance she's gonna be weaker than Nami and definitely Robin. Considering how Oda has made the Haki power system in the first place, and how that does obviously circumnavigate all, let's say, the Logia issues, the issue of the immortality factor, I would only assume be in the same vein here. So Yamato joined the crew, I think is more likely, just considering how the abilities of major future opponents, how ill-equipped Vivi, Robin, and Nami would be fighting against them, but how perfectly equipped Yamato would be fighting against them. And point number 3, which is a lot more personal, but not necessarily, this is one of the core issues of the arc itself. If Yamato joins the crew, that does fix a lot of the conclusion of Wano Country. Not the entire conclusion, no, but it does fix a lot of the conclusion of the arc, for damn sure. And it does make Wano Country, in a general sense, a better arc, retroactively speaking. I understand why Oda did it, but at the same time, when you undermine so much of Onigashima, undermine so many of the characters' intents that you persistently pushed on us time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, it doesn't really matter how folks feel about Yamato per se. It's the fact that you have moments like 1051 where Yamato says outright, I am Kozuki Oden, otherwise known as Yamato, nice to meet you. I'm gonna join your ship, Nami and Usopp. Oh my god, wow. You have Frankie, you're gonna join our crew. You have Brook and Sanji co-sign that. Robin saying, you're a real funny one. And then Jinbei saying, oh, okay, fair enough, fine, but the captain decides that, which was the case. Yes, Wano Country will be better the moment Yamato joins the crew. It is that simple. It is that cut and dry. We need Yamato. And there's one last thing. Folks do want Bonnie to join the crew. I don't think she will. And even if she does, she's not on Yamato's level. She may have distorted future, fake Nika stuff, but at the same time, that won't be sufficient at all to take out heavy hitters in the future. Absolutely not. Especially at her age, given her stamina, not happening. But that's it. Now I'm officially done. So on that note, give me your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy your boys' video content, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.